This is the reading of the 29th gene key, leaping into the void. Siddhi is devotion, gift is commitment, shadow is half-heartedness. The 29th Siddhi, devotion. Tantric contagion. When the gift of commitment takes on a universal level of functioning, it becomes transmuted into the Siddhi of devotion. Out of this consciousness, all the great paths known in the East as Bhakti Yoga have risen. Bhakti Yoga refers to the path of devotion, or the path of the heart. Devotional paths are all paths of self-surrender, in which you completely lose your own sense of self in another. The other can be a mission, or as in the case of Mother Teresa, devotion to the poor. Or the other can be an ideal or symbol such as a god or a guru. The path of devotion is far removed from society. Devotion is commitment gone mad. It is mad in the sense that you have to leave the order of your mind to enter into the wildness of your heart. At the gift level, commitment can still have traces of selfishness, even though it is surrendered and contains great power. However, the more the frequency rises through the 29th gene key, the more you find your commitments directed towards the service of others. As the frequency gets higher and higher, your commitment takes on a devotional quality and begins to activate the heart center. At a certain stage in this process, you cannot help but become a devotee of some higher cause or being, and yet still the process goes on. As the energy of love pours outward into service, it requires you to surrender your very identity to what appears to be an outside being or symbol. To those who do not understand the true matters of the heart, such devotion appears misguided at best. People approaching the Siddhi can appear to worship gurus or idols without a care for themselves. To the devotee, however, the only thing that exists is the object of their devotion. If the devotional energy is towards a guru, then the guru is seen everywhere and everything. If it is towards a mission, then that mission is all that matters in your life, and everything else must bend in that single pointed direction. When the quantum leap for the 29th gift is the 29th Siddhi occurs, an extraordinary thing happens. All the love that has been poured into the object of devotion suddenly begins pouring back into the devotee, or pouring back into the devoted one from everything in the universe. At this point, the one manifesting the Siddhi often refers to everything, including themselves, as the beloved. Thus, it is said by such people that the very rocks and the trees bleed their love towards the beloved. Wherever such people go, their heart is in constant meltdown from everything and everyone they meet. These people often become poets or divine drunks These people often become poets or divine drunks or servers of others. The programming partner of this Siddhi is the 30th Siddhi of rapture. And these two words, devotion and rapture, are inseparable. These people are literally seized by love. The aura of such a being is so soft that it can draw in almost anyone as a devotee. When meeting this frequency in the flesh, it is near impossible to say no to such a being. Another aspect concerning this Siddhi, and in fact one partially born out of this Siddhi, is the path of Tantra. Tantra loosely refers to the transmutation of sexual or dense frequency energy into divine energy. Even at the gift level of the 29th gene key, you begin to enter the stream of Tantra. As you allow the energy of commitment to act itself out in the world, you begin to realize that an energy separate from your body is moving through you. This high frequency energy is actually moving into your body from your higher bodies, and in particular from your fifth body, known as the Buddhic body. The more refined your frequency becomes, the more you can sense this energy or vitality moving through you. At these higher levels, people often become interested in practices such as yoga that can help you become even more sensitized to these life currents within your body. When the life currents begin to move through the chambers of your chest and heart, the devotional energy is activated. This is the essence of Tantra, the spontaneous surrender of your being to its higher evolution. The 29th Siddhi remains deeply immersed in human relationships. In many tantric practices, the devotee visualizes him or herself having sex with a divine consort, or he or she experiences alchemical shifts within their body through sustained loving intercourse with another person. As a path opposite to that of yoga, which is based upon discipline, Tantra is about letting life take you wherever it wants to go. Such paths draw a great deal of moral judgment from society because they are essentially amoral, and given the nature of the sexual energy inherent in this gene key, taboos are often broken. However, if such paths are followed through with absolute commitment, they do eventually raise the consciousness into its devotional aspect. As you may recall, the ancient Chinese referred to this archetype, the abysmal. There is no greater symbol for diving into the abyss than that of living your life entirely from your heart. The path of devotion is one of the simplest ways of touching the divine and is why you find it in so many great religions. Here it is based on the notion of sacred relationship, and its method is worship and prayer. There is a certain safety in worship because there always remains a worshiper and an object of worship. However, between the realm of gifts and the realm of cities lies the great abyss. It is this abyss that brings an end to worship. The great challenge for the devotee is to allow him or herself to be annihilated and to take a great leap into full embodiment. When the devotee crosses the abyss, he or she will never emerge on the other side. Only the divine will remain. This is the dilemma of the Siddhic realm. Once such a person speaks, they will always sound as though they are God talking rather than a humble worshiper of God. This is where most religions end. Once the 29th city comes into being, all life is witnessed as prayerful, so there's no sense of praying anymore. Since you are the embodiment of the divine, to whom will you now pray? The 29th city of devotion is an absolutely contagious city. Wherever it goes, it inspires devotion in others. This electrical, almost sexual aura creates considerable waves when it appears in the world. There are masters who care nothing for morality or taboos. They are only interested in one thing: surrender into the heart. When it pours into you, this 29th city often appears to be a chaotic energy without structure or rhythm. As your devotion deepens, you adjust your inner being to the orgasmic nature of the heart, which knows no rules and takes its own strange twists and turns. What appears to be chaos to the outsider is really a deep state of wild harmonic transcendence in which the boundaries of normal reality have utterly melted. This is the city of saying yes to life. It gives to itself to absolutely anything and anyone that comes its way. And the message of the 29th city is exactly this: trust your heart above all else and never worry about the consequences. To be devoted means to lie forever in the lap of the divine. 29th gift, commitment, the business of luck. As your frequency becomes clearer and more refined, your decision-making process naturally becomes cleaner, and quicker as well. The 29th gift is not subject to the pressures of conditioning and expectations from others, but opens into a deep connection to the direction of the life force within. This gift inherently attunes to the cyclical flow of life. People with the 29th gift have a knack for getting out of the way of life, and through this gift can watch their lives unwinding in powerful mystical ways. Without the 29th gift and its ability to make crystal clear commitments, life becomes choked and confused. And nowhere is this more truer than at the emotional and sexual level. Commitment is akin to trust, which can neither be forced nor willed. It flows like a great river from deep within your being and out into your actions. With commitment, you have no need to think about the future or the goal because the commitment contains a seed of the goal within it. Only time will show where the river of each cycle of experience will lead. Thus, with the 29th gift, the goal is not what is important. What really matters is the commitment to keep following the journey until its end. Life is latticed with cycles within cycles. Some journeys last 5 minutes and some last a lifetime. The ultimate journey is your entire life, and the shape of your life is formed by the millions of tiny decisions that are made over the course of your life. To live your entire life with this profound level of commitment means to make every decision with the same commitment, from the way you have sex to the way you wash your dishes. As an integral part of the chemical family known as the Ring of Union, the 29th gift shares a common theme with the 4, 7, and 59 gene keys. This codon ring is currently undergoing a great deal of spontaneous mutation in our DNA and is directly responsible for the huge shift in the way in which we humans relate, particularly through our sexuality and gender. Much of the impetus for these genetic changes is coming through the 59th gene key and its programming partner, the 55th gene key. The very role of human sexuality is about to change, which means that at present, the world is deeply confused about the value of its morality and its age-old institutions such as marriage. Through the 29th gift, we can experience a new definition of the word commitment, which has less to do with social expectations and everything to do with saying yes to life. The only real commitment is commitment to your own inner guidance in the now. Finding this guidance is dependent on your surrendering to the life force within you, which involves utter trust in life's natural cycles of commitment. It is this trust that is moving into the world today. and as it comes into its smashing parts, all are false moralities. True commitment is an energetic dynamic felt within your whole being rather than a social requirement. Many people view commitment through morality. You see this particularly in human relationships, where commitment is generally enforced by social pressure. If, for example, a relationship breaks up or a marriage ends in divorce, it is still often thought of as a failure. True commitment is not moralistic. It lasts as long as it lasts. When the cycle is over, it is over, and both parties will feel this at the same time. Everyone who begins a relationship alliance out of true commitment knows this truth. Relationships that begin with this kind of clean commitment generally end in a clean way, without all the unusual emotional turbulence that goes with breaking up. Some relationship commitment cycles really do last for one night and others forever. The length of the cycle has nothing to do with its success or failure. At the frequency level of the 29th gift, all relationships form a part of the evolutionary storyline of your life, and thus they are appreciated for adding richness and depth to life rather than being seen in terms of failure or success. People with the 29th gift in their hologenetic profile can be exceedingly lucky people. Their clear, committed decisions create the condition for their own good fortune. These people cannot afford to be led by others. They cannot listen to teachers, gurus, oracles, or systems. Neither can they succumb to pressures or expectations from others. Their decisions flow from deep within their bellies and brook no argument. With the 29th gift, a clear decision is felt as a quiet and powerful warmth that courses through your whole being. These are not emotional decisions. Neither are they excited or nervous or explosive. Commitment is a wholesome energy, as though nature itself were taking control of your destiny and showing you the way ahead. It is at this stage that you begin to understand that in commitment is also surrender. Rather than expending a huge effort to maintain your commitment, you simply surrender yourself to it. Sometimes, if you feel a lack of commitment, it is because you need to surrender even more deeply into your process. Whether you have the 29th gene key as an aspect of your hologenetic profile or not, luck is made or unmade here. Every time you make a clear decision in your life, this can be especially true in business, like a microcosm of life. A business is a journey with ups and downs. Prosperity is directly linked to clear commitment, both in your relationships and in your daily work. Within business, there are many cycles that begin, end, and begin again. Financial success cannot be measured as a single cycle, but by continued commitment and certainty in your decision-making. For example, sometimes when you stay committed to a direction that seems to be unsuccessful, it opens up into opportunities that later become successful. You cannot think your way through life. You can only align your inner decision, align your inner direction, truly trust in it come that may. Say that again. You can only align your inner direction truly. Trust in it, come what may, and allow nature to do the rest. That's the pure magic of the 29th gift. The 29th shadow, which is half-heartedness, the life half-lived. The 29th shadow of half-heartedness, in combination with its programming partner, the 30th shadow of desire, creates quite possibly the greatest emotional chaos of any two shadow pairings. This is a deep and ancient genetic programming within human beings. More than anything, it concerns a basic lack of trust in human desire. Desire, as we can learn from the 30th shadow and its gift of lightness, serves a greater purpose than simply creating emotional confusion. Desire that is fully embodied or fully embraced always leads to a beneficial outcome. It is, after all, a pure life energy within us. The problems with desire arise through the 29th shadow and its dynamics. In essence, the shadow is about two things that ultimately stem from the same sources: overcommitment and lack of commitment. The secret to all commitment lies in the way in which you begin. It is the energy behind your actions that creates your future rather than the actions themselves. There is nothing that is worth doing in life unless it is done with absolute commitment. It doesn't matter whether you love it or hate it. If you attempt anything half-heartedly, you might as well not attempt it at all. Without commitment, action lacks power or direction, and above all, it lacks luck. This last comment may sound rather odd, but there exists a universal law that anything that is done with full commitment carries within it the seed of good fortune. Likewise, anything done without full commitment carries the seed of misfortune. All life is a continuum, and every action you take leads you down a certain path. It must also be said that there is no morality behind the universal law of commitment. It simply represents an invitation for you to trust life. Half-heartedness robs you from your opportunity to participate in life's mystery. It stalls life's natural tendency towards the magical and the profound. The shadow keeps you victim of fate rather than being a player in the great play. It keeps you in the sidelines, ensuring that you play roles in life that are dull and monotonous, I don't know that word, or else fraught with emotional agony. In a nutshell, when you enter into something half-heartedly, you invite misery into your life. The 29th gene key is all about human feelings. It's about sex and relating, failure and success, desire and expectation. No matter who you are, your life depends upon your honoring the laws of this gene key. When you do something half-heartedly, you are actually behaving dishonestly. You may not be literally dishonest with others, but you are being dishonest with yourself and this life and with life, and this always has unpleasant consequences. The 29th shadow is a wake-up call to all human beings. How clearly you hear the message depends on how deeply asleep you are. Commitments operate within a cycle, and at the end of its cycle, it either automatically renews itself or it lets go in the commitment and commits to something else. These cycles can be of many different lengths. The cellular cycle lasts for 7 full years, since that is how long it takes for your body to replace all its renewable cells. True commitment within a cycle of time, therefore, lasts 7 years or more. Cycles of desire can last much less time, but each has its own built-in timing mechanism. Human beings must work through their desire cycles until they reach a natural completion. Unfortunately, there is no simple way to know when something will end. You need to remain committed. That was Hank. You need to remain committed until the play has ended of its own accord. If you break out of a cycle prematurely, your life will reconstruct the same patterns of experience until you actually finish the cycle and learn the lesson it holds for you. The 29th shadow keeps most human beings in a repeating pattern because they do not follow things through to their natural endings. True commitments include the energy to overcome obstacles and adversity. Half-heartedness is about giving up at the first sign of trouble or discomfort, and ultimately, all half-heartedness is rooted in deep, unembraced fear. The lesson that comes from the 29th shadow is really simple. If you quit something too soon, you will stay in the same old loop. But if you follow experiences through to the end, you will make quantum leaps, both in terms of good fortune and your fulfillment. You need to see that this shadow, like all shadows, has a beneficial purpose in the long run. It teaches you the value of your experiences when you look back upon them on hindsight. If you look back and keep seeing the same old emotional traumas repeating in your life, you will eventually learn that learn what you are doing or not doing that is causing these patterns. The ancient Chinese had a wonderful and somewhat disturbing name for this 29th gene key or hexagram. They called it the abysmal, and it was considered one of the major symbols for predicting danger on a life path. This is exactly what the 29th shadow does. It keeps throwing you into very challenging situations in which your commitment is tested. Once you have embarked on a certain path in life, you are really flying blind. You have only the power of your commitment to carry you through the abyss. With half-heartedness, you are constantly concerned about where this path will take you and whether you have made the right decision in the first place. Your fears heckle you from within and threaten to undermine your commitment. If you yield to them, you actually create conditions for misfortune. But if you can weather your doubts, especially at those critical moments, you can create a condition for transcendence. In this 29th shadow lies the secret of what is generally seen as success. Success in life hinges upon two things: commitment and luck. Commitment actually engenders luck. Failure means that you have remained stuck in the same old cycle. And nowhere does this shadow have more relevance than in the field of human relationships. Since it is paired with the 30th shadow of desire, it leads to the beginning of many human bonds and alliances. It is through this coupling that so much confusion enters into relationships. All desire operates within clear cycles, and these cycles must be honored, even if they are not fulfilled. If a desire is honestly embraced, then its cycle will soon reveal itself. It may last a day or a year, but the cycle can never be wrong. This is not about social morality, but life energy. In marriages, whether formalized or internal, commitment is a built-in requirement. If sexual desire for another rears its head, it signals one of two things. Either the marriage is nearing the end of its cycle of commitment, or it is about to be strengthened through the honest cooperation grappling with the desire cycle and whatever that entails. The 29th shadow responds to most sexual desire out of fear, which usually manifests as behavior rooted in guilt or shame. In this sense, half-heartedness means to hide your true feelings or follow them through in secret. Thus, this 29th shadow can lead to all manner of unfortunate emotional situations and relationship disasters in life. As the old folk saying goes, a life lived in fear is a life half lived. It is an apt saying for the 29th shadow, which can cause all kinds of emotional trauma for human beings, especially in the domain of relationships and material success. To live half-heartedly means that you never fully embrace or trust your decisions. This shadow makes you constantly worry about your decisions and where they might or might not lead you. The great illusion of failure and success is that they are simply inner attitudes linked to your beliefs about yourself. To move beyond the domain of this 29th shadow, you will have to let go of all such ideas and allow life to catapult you into and through the abyss of the unknown. You must hold back nothing and be totally honest, both with yourself and others. There are so many rewards and fruits waiting for you if you can stand by your decision and follow them through to their natural organic conclusion. The repressive nature, overcommitting, these people are conditioned not only to make commitments, but also to keep them no matter what happens. In other words, these people are unable or unwilling to recognize when natural cycles are over. Such a nature takes on far more than it's capable of handling. It becomes gradually exhausted by the magnitude of its commitments. These people often become victims of others, and they become slaves of large organizations. Because of the fear in their nature, they do not have the courage to admit when something needs to end, and they continue to allow others to abuse them, either consciously or unconsciously. Reactive nature is unreliable. When the 29th shadow is played out through the reactive nature, it hides a deep fear of commitment that is seen by others as lack of reliability. When one does something without true commitment, then one can rarely follow through an action or a cycle with confidence and competence. The usual result is the breaking off of the cycle and the consequent disappointment and sense of failure or shame. These are the natures that may say yes to all kinds of things, but then react to the pressure by pulling out of these commitments. The anger inherent within this nature is usually triggered by someone else's expectations of them, and thus they tend to talk things up while lacking the ability to deliver on their promises. The end of 29.